Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a cyber attack that's so ridiculously fast, it completely changes the game for digital defense. We're talking about ReactShell, a ransomware attack that can be over and done with in less time than it takes you to even read this slide. Okay, so let's get right into it. You need to forget everything you might imagine about some hacker hunched over a keyboard for hours. This attack, it unfolds from start to finish in about the time it takes to make a cup of coffee. You heard that right. Less than a single minute. That is the total all-in time for an attacker to bust into a server, shut down its defenses, encrypt all the data, and then just vanish. It's a level of speed and brutal efficiency that is just, well, it's on a whole new level. So, how does it start? In the very first few seconds, bam, they're in. The attackers hit a critical flaw in a super common web technology. This gives them instant access to the server. We're not talking about guessing passwords or sending phishing emails. This is like finding the front door wide open. The moment they're inside, an automated script gets to work on the system's immune system. A single command is all it takes to shut down the main line of defense, Windows Defender. This move effectively puts a blindfold on the server right before the big hit. And with those defenses down, the main show begins. The ransomware payload, a nasty piece of work called ReactShell, just starts tearing through the file system. It locks up all the victim's critical data, making everything completely useless. And then, before that minute is even up, they pull off the final act. They wipe the event logs and shadow copies. This is like a thief wiping away their own footprints. It makes it incredibly difficult for security teams to even figure out what just happened. So, the huge question is, how is an attack this devastatingly fast even possible? This isn't a person manually typing commands. Nope, this is a pre-programmed automated weapon. So let's pull back the curtain and look at the tech that makes it all tick. It all starts with this vulnerability, codenamed ReactShell. You really can just think of it as an unlocked door that attackers found. But to really get it, we need to understand how that door was built and why it was left unlocked in the first place. The story begins with something called React Server Components. Now, this is a totally legitimate tool developers use to make websites faster. The basic idea is to run some of the code on the powerful server instead of in your web browser. But as you can probably guess, that performance boost created a new way for attackers to get in. Now, the real heart of the problem is a tricky concept called insecure deserialization. Let me break it down. Imagine a server gets a package of data from the outside. Instead of carefully checking what's inside, it just blindly follows the instructions tucked inside that package. It's like a stranger handing you a folded-up note, and you just do whatever it says without even reading it first. That's the flaw. And that brings us to the final piece of this puzzle, ReactShell. Its official name, by the way, is CVE 2025-55-18-2. What it does is it weaponizes that insecure deserialization flaw specifically within those React server components we just talked about. It creates the absolute perfect storm, allowing an attacker to send a malicious package and trick the server to run literally any command they want. So an open door is one thing, but it's pretty useless unless someone walks through it. So let's talk about the weapon that was built to exploit this vulnerability, a strain of ransomware known as ReactShell. Now, ReactShell isn't your typical big-game ransomware you read about in the headlines. It's part of a family that's known for quick smash-and-grab jobs. It goes after easy targets, servers facing the internet, demands a pretty low ransom, and it doesn't even bother stealing data. Its whole philosophy is just speed, automation, and a quick payday. Get in, get paid, get out. What's really interesting is that criminals didn't start with ransomware for ReactShell. The first groups to find this flaw used it for quieter things, like spying or secretly using infected servers to mine cryptocurrency. It was only later that ransomware groups, like the ones behind Waxor, looked at this and realized, whoa, we can use this for lightning-fast automated extortion. All right, so we've got the vulnerability, ReactShell, and we've got the weapon, ReactShell. Let's put it all together. How exactly did they pull off that entire attack chain in under a minute? You have to understand, this whole thing is just one single automated script. The second that exploit hits the server, a chain reaction starts. It gets access, it sets up a control channel, it kills the defenses, it runs the ransomware, and then it cleans up all the evidence. It's a true fire-and-forget missile of a cyber attack. So knowing how the attack works is one thing, but defending against something that moves this fast,
That is a completely different ballgame. So what's the big takeaway for anyone out there trying to stay secure?
Well, for the victims, the aftermath is brutally simple. All of their important files suddenly have this .wex extension tacked on the end, and the only thing they can actually open is a simple text file with the ransom note, telling them how to pay up to maybe get their data back. The obvious first step for defense is, we'll just patch the vulnerability. But, and this is a really crucial point, even the first patches that came out for ReactShell didn't fully fix the problem. They left servers exposed. It's a huge lesson that patching is absolutely critical, but you have to stay on top of it to make sure the fix is actually complete. Because this attack is just so fast, you can't count on a person to spot it while it's happening. It's impossible. Instead, you have to be monitoring for the automated breadcrumbs it leaves behind, what we call indicators of compromise. We're talking about things like your web server suddenly launching weird programs, or your security tools mysteriously turning themselves off. So the defensive playbook really boils down to 3 main actions. 1. Patch. Get the latest versions installed right away, and just assume any server you have facing the internet could have been hit. 2. Investigate. Go hunting for those indicators. And 3. Monitor. Relentlessly watch your systems, paying super close attention to any unusual PowerShell activity. And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty chilling thought. The ReactShell attack shows us a brand new reality of automated threats. When an attacker can go from 0 to fully encrypted in under a minute, our response time can't be measured in hours or even minutes anymore. It has to be measured in seconds. And that forces every single one of us to ask, is our defense fast enough?